Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Leo energy. And like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Leo energy. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Leo energy. We all have our dualistic nature, and in our Leo energy, we can kind of battle within ourselves. Leo can talk about if we are more in our worldly egoic nature, our fear, insecurity, our pride, our ego, lust, greed, immaturity, self-protective defensive nature, wanting to repeat old patterns, stay in our comfort zone. And we can all battle with that because we all tap into Leo energy. And some people could be moving forward in life. They've worked through the bottom row, can kind of represent our fears and our insecurities and self-limiting beliefs or our comfort zone. And some people kind of got in the driver's seat of their life here with the Chariot to move forward in life differently out of love for themselves and moving forward with the people in their life who want to move forward with them in that way. Some other people could be still debating within themselves if they would like to do things a little differently. It's kind of like the truth sets us free. That's high vibe Leo, being willing to deal with the truth, see the truth, get out of your ego about the truth, and have that hopeful, believing spirit. Give yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you, to not give up on your dreams and to keep moving forward in your life. And some people could be debating that. And then there could be other people in the world that they could be happy in their comfort zone, just like we all are at different stages of our life. And, you know, we don't feel the need to move forward until something we don't like about the way we are living our life. And some people could be happy with the way they're living their life. But we're kind of talking about the whole spectrum of people. There are some people that the truth is they are more shadowy. They're more about themselves, more about their ego, more about their image, more about being indulged, are manipulative and prideful and egotistical and immature. And, you know, we're going to talk about them too. So just kind of listen to your intuition about where you're at in the story, where some other people in your life might be at in the story. Do they harness a more high vibe Leo energy, authentic, loving, warm, encouraging, just, fair, because high vibe energy is kind of all those things, more independent? Or are they more manipulated by things within themselves or other people or the world, or more caught up in themselves or the world? Okay, well, I'm going to get one more card for the bottom row. Okay. So, the reason for the bottom row's reading is the Knight of Swords, which is Gemini energy. Kind of interesting in this picture. It depicts a desert area, so it could be people who emotionally, the truth is, Gemini talks about our dualistic nature. High vibe energy is about being balanced. The Knight of Swords is air sign energy of the mind. We can live more from our mind than our heart and not kind of connect in with our more emotionally intuitive, creative nature. That would be kind of like a desert landscape. And for some people, that's their truth and that's how they want to live their life. You know, we are emotionally complex human beings. And some people just find it too confusing and they'd rather not maybe connect in with their emotions that much, prefer to live more from their mind than their heart. And we have to see the truth of it and accept the truth of it. The reason for the top row's reading is the Chariot, which is Cancer energy, water sign energy, about love, love of self, love of others, but it also talks about being balanced, and high vibe energy is about being balanced, because otherwise you're kind of tipped out of balance. You're either kind of indulging poor behavior in yourself or others, or caught up in yourself or the things of the world. And, you know, we all want some of these things of the world, but some people also want love, like to be in jobs and friendships and relationships with people that they like. Other people could be like, I'm going to stay in the job, the friendship, or the relationship. I don't care if I like it or not. If the end goal is whatever their end goal is, if that works for them, they'll stay there no matter what. Other people maybe can't stay in that type of environment. It has to be more balanced, or I can't stay in jobs and friendships and relationships for long with people that I don't feel are more authentic or loving or warm or encouraging, Uh, I want more balance in my life. And out of love for myself, I am going to make a decision that if I find myself in a situation that could seem a little dry and barren, even though in the swords energy, in a lot of ways, it might seem like it makes logical, practical sense, and it might look good by worldly standards. With our dualistic nature of free will, when we choose one thing, we have to kind of let go of something else, right? Because it's making those decisions in our life. And some people kind of realize they could have been in something that seemed more emotionally barren. And, it's in the energy of love, being in love. It's like being in the energy of the sun, and Leo energy is also represented by the sun. Being in loving and encouraging environments is where we thrive best. But for other people where that's not their truth and that's not the truth of who they are, they could thrive best in an environment that doesn't require that of them. And to hang around other people that are more about whatever they're about, right? Because that's their truth. And that's what Gemini talks about. What is your truth in your dualistic nature? So let's go look at the bottom row. We have the Seven of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and the Sun. So the Seven of Pentacles can talk about, in this case, the Seven of Pentacles is going that way. We can all want to stay in our comfort zone. We'll all repeat certain patterns because that is our comfort zone. We don't want to step out of our comfort zone. That's kind of unknown territory. And so some people are just still repeating a pattern. It could be living more from their mind than their heart. The Seven of Pentacles is Taurus energy, which can be being kind of more caught up in the world. I'm going to invest my time and energy and effort in the world or indulge in things of the world to make me feel better. I'm sure that'll make me happy. It's just kind of a more worldly philosophy of life. And in the Nine of Wands, that person is sitting there kind of like, maybe it doesn't require more work and effort from them. Because again, if we stay in our comfort zone, it doesn't challenge us to face our fears, to maybe grow or heal or mature ourselves, and we can just keep doing things the way we've done it. And then next we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse, and that can be, in the upright, the Page of Pentacles can be willing to be a student of life, and in the reverse, some people don't have an interest in doing things differently. If we were to add the one pentacle to the Seven of Pentacles, then we'd be in the Eight of Pentacles, and normally the Eight of Pentacles is facing that way. Kind of putting in work and effort to kind of maybe do some inner work about why we keep repeating an old pattern over and over. But some people could lack in a more shadowy Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius can be not in shadow. It could be kind of not inspired to kind of go on an adventure, to look at life as an opportunity to learn new lessons. That life is all about learning lessons, and some people are like, I don't need to learn anything new. I'm good. I'm just going to keep doing this. It also could kind of represent that not willing to invest. The pages in high vibe can be our more hopeful, believing spirit. And some people are like, no, not going to do that. And since we're talking about Leo, maybe not really willing to invest in themselves. Again, it would be, you'd have to do some of that inner work to work through some of the things that manipulate you. Why aren't you more inspired to invest in yourself or love and believe in yourself? Some people could think that's not their job, and shadowy energy can be more codependent energy. No, I'm going to go get in a relationship with someone. That's their job. Their job is to be loving and encouraging and supportive of me. And so they could be, with the card in reverse, it can kind of mean extremes. And some people are very codependent. And then they want to be in relationships with other people who are also very codependent. And just might want to be in relationships with people whose truth is they want to be in a relationship, because Taurus can talk about relationships. Want to be in relationships with other people who are defensive to doing life any differently. I want to live here. I want to make my life about this. I want to invest my time and energy into these things. This is my truth. I don't want to do anything differently. And actually, the Nine of Wands can say, I'm defensive to that. But the thing is, they could be defensive to the truth in high vibe Gemini, but they have free will. We have the free will to kind of grow ourselves to our full potential, to work through our fears, our insecurities, our pride, our ego, our immature nature, our self-indulgent nature. But we don't have to. The opportunity is there for people to do that, but they don't have to do it. And some people have no interest in doing it. My truth is, I could be more about the world, maybe more about the status, the ego, the image. I'm sure I'll be happy. And if that's their truth, that's their truth. It's just that other people who could get in relationship with them, maybe trying to move things forward, like not, because shadowy energy can be that it seems dead and stagnant. It doesn't ever give birth to anything new. So it can be kind of boring. It's just doing the same old thing all the time, and this is what's important, and this is what we make our life about. And it can always never get more balanced, or, this is the priority. It never gets more balanced emotionally, or even maybe investing in the truth, which is love. So then we have the Eight of Wands and the Sun. The Eight of Wands, some people, they got in relationships with people and they harness their Sagittarius energy differently. We can get in more mismatched jobs, friendships, and relationships. Like, yeah, the truth is, I need a job. I'm looking for a friend. I want to meet people to be in friendship and relationship, is what Taurus can talk about, all those different institutions of the world. But if one person harnesses their Gemini in a more hopeful, believing nature, they think other people are motivated and inspired. That would be like the Eight of Wands and the Sun, to keep growing and healing and maturing themselves and learning lessons in life, and to go on this journey. And kind of like the Sun could be like a new beginning, and the sword, one sword that the knight would be holding, could be like this new beginning. Let's go create our own new thing. Let's give birth to something new. And the other people could kind of create the illusion that they're willing to do that, but then they never do that. They'd have to quit from the Nine of Wands down to the Eight. They'd have to quit being more inspired by some way of living life to be inspired to live life a little differently. And, the Sun is kind of like being illuminated to the truth. And some people, again, they turn their back on the truth. They could be a little more stubborn. They could be a little more immature. They could be a little more defensive to the truth, to taking more inspired action in their life, coming out from behind their ego or their defensive nature or their immature nature and kind of growing up and maturing themselves. And some people, they have no interest in doing their life any differently. So if some of you at one time invested in something and you thought, that other people kind of thought like you did, and you just kind of thought, people would be inspired to kind of grow and heal and mature themselves and maybe work together with each other in a more just and fair way or love, you could have found out that did not seem to be their truth. And so, for a long time, we can be in relationships with people and we're trying to offer other people love and encouragement and truth to move forward with us. But if they keep turning their back to it and they kind of keep repeating old patterns, and in Shadow, the Knight of Swords can be about being defensive, eventually we can't keep staying in denial of the truth. That's not their truth. And then we could kind of realize the Page of Pentacles can represent all three of the earth sign energies. In their Virgo, in their Capricorn, in their Taurus, they could be very much about the world. Indulging in things of the world, more about looking victorious and successful in the world. Their long-term plan can be to want to be in a relationship or be in a marriage, but it could be more to be in it for maybe codependency, because again, they could be very codependent, or more for the money, the ego, the image, the status, and in turn, wanting other people to maybe be in relationship with them for those reasons. And to them, that could make practical, logical sense, because they could, don't people want a job? Don't people want to be in a relationship? Don't people want to get married? Well, I am willing to be in a marriage or work for you or employ you. But oh, by the way, it's never going to be more inspired by love. It might look like love, quack like love, but not authentically motivated by love. It's more, let's not invest in the truth. Let's keep moving forward, being more inspired in our worldly, egoic nature. This is good for my image and status. This is good for your image and status. Aren't you fearful of having a new beginning? Aren't you fearful of moving forward in your life? And, and they could have a lot of those fears. So they kind of want other people to be in that energy. And some people saw the truth of it. They worked through their own defensiveness about moving away from those people and kind of standing up for themselves and standing up for what they think is just and fair. The Knight of Swords is kind of sent by the King and Queen of Swords, which can be in our Libra and our Aquarius energy, what we think is just and fair and what our dreams are, and the other people, they have their way of living life that they think is just and fair and their idea of the dream life. And again, we could kind of realize that we apparently have different ideas of what is just and fair and our ideas of the dream life. And I am inspired to free myself from my more worldly nature, my defensive nature. I want to quit being more codependent. I don't want to keep indulging my more immature nature. If I do those things, all those things stop me from investing in things that would be more aligned with my life moving forward. And I did have a dream of moving forward in my life and not repeating an old pattern. It's kind of like people being, like if people had lived their life, at age 21, but then they wanted to forever live their life like a 21-year-old. Well, some people might want to. Other people are like, no, that was kind of a stage of life. And, it's kind of makes me think of a Bible verse that when I was a child, it goes something like, when I was a child, I thought like a child. I spoke like a child, maybe reasoned like a child. But as I grew up, I put away my more childish ways of being. I quit being more inspired by that. And that's what most people do. They're age 21, love it, live it. And then it's like, it's not moving my life forward. That was the stage of life. I kind of see the truth. It's time to move forward if I want the justice I deserve in life. And I have to love and believe in myself. And I quit investing in those ways of being. And then people become a 25-year-old and a 30-year-old. And, we kind of shed these old layers of ourselves throughout our life to keep kind of giving birth to the next version of ourselves, a more hopefully mature version. And there can always be people in the world that always operate more from their mind and their ego. And what they don't get, what they have not seen the truth of, is that other people really did work through a phase of life and realized they didn't want to invest in that way of being anymore. They kind of realized, it was okay for me to act like that when I was 10 and 12 and 15 and 18 and 21 and 25 and etc. But I've been kind of illuminated to the truth that, in all of these cards here, you could consider them like a minor arcana, almost like in tarot we have the pages, the knights, the kings, the queens, the emperor, the empress. That this is more all these lessons I learned in page energy, but it's time for me to kind of grow up. And to authentically grow up, I need to see the truth of why those ways of being are kind of beneath me in a way, Hopefully I've learned some lessons in life and I know how to deal with things more maturely, right? Maybe be more just and fair, have a little more hope and faith and belief in myself, in others, maybe learn to treat other people the way I like to be treated, treat people in a more just and fair way. Shadowy energy can be where people don't want to see the truth of that, and they could be more inspired to kind of try to manipulate people or control people or intimidate people or be more stubborn, in order to try to get people to do what they want in relationships. So sometimes the shadowy people will quit investing in a certain way of being because they've learned that other people won't be in friendship or relationship with them if they keep doing it in a way. But then they think, I have like an idea, I'm just going to act like that's not who I am. And then they try to go forward in life trying to present themselves as a more emotionally mature person than they really are. But the truth is they never learned the lesson. And they can still repeat some of those patterns in the next job, friendship, or relationship they get in. And then that causes a problem because other people are like, oh my God, that's like things like people did in 9th grade. Or I went out and I knew people that did shit like that when I was like 21. And I can't believe that someone who is whatever age is kind of acting like that. And it kind of illuminates the truth that they haven't learned some lessons and tempered their ego or manipulative nature or shadow nature or didn't work through their maybe more defensive nature or something to work together with people in a more balanced, loving way. And, we all have lessons to learn in life because it's kind of like God does want to give us our divine inheritance. But if we haven't learned these lessons in life, we could fall prey to people who are like that. So, we might come in contact with people like that for us to, we come in contact with all these different people in the world to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And if we came across some shadowy people in our life at some time, or immature, or stubborn, or prideful, or defensive, or really codependent, or something, um, hopefully we take that truth, being illuminated to the truth of what we learned, to realize that the truth is there's people in the world, no matter how old they are, that can be quite in these shadowy type of energies. And that when we see the truth of it, we don't stay in denial of it. And it's kind of like, I see the truth. Thank you for illuminating the truth. Now I know, because shadowy energy can be wanting to stay in denial, kind of living in illusion. And it's like, nope, been around that track before. If you show me you're more immature, you're more about yourself, you're more defensive, I'm not going to try to change you. You either are more inspired to be work together with people in a more just and fair and authentic and loving way, and know how to treat other people, and have worked through some of your past pain and heartbreak and fears and insecurities to work together with people that way, or you haven't. And kind of realizing, the time we could have spent in our life learning those lessons, those different lessons can take years and decades to learn. To be willing to be more authentically yourself in the world, to be more balanced within yourself, keep having more hope and faith and belief in yourself and in others and in love. And some people kind of gave that up a long time ago, and that's not their truth. So quit trying to change people. When people show you the truth about what drives and motivates them, or they're defensive, or they're stubborn, or they're kind of maybe like to live more from their mind than their heart, not very connected in emotionally, you maybe kind of keep your distance. You can be a loving and encouraging person in people's lives and know people, but I'm no longer going to get in a more mismatched relationship. So, but if we've been in those situations, it can be hard to leave it, because we can all like the things that we've already invested in to work out the way we want. Both Leo and Taurus are fixed sign energy. And again, we can all want those things to work out the way we want, but other people have to want it to work out the way we want. And if how they want it to work out and move forward with it is different than how we would like to move forward with it, kind of how we want to move forward and have it work out is different. And we kind of get out of our ego about it, quit investing in it, and we move forward accepting the truth. And it can be in our Gemini nature within ourselves that some people in the world, 50% of the people at any given moment, are kind of more motivated and inspired to make decisions in their life, listening, trying to make more balanced decisions in their life. Yes, I want some of these things in the world too, but I also want truth and love and justice and fairness. It's not just about these things of the world. And other people are like, no, I'm not doing that. This is the way I want to do it. And we accept in their Gemini nature that everybody has within themselves that is their truth. So people go up to the top row. And that's where the reason for the top row's reading is a Chariot. You could realize you harness your Cancer energy differently. Some people harness their Cancer energy, and the Chariot can talk about how things look victorious and successful. And you could feel like some people kind of use their emotions kind of manipulatively, kind of create the illusion, because that's shadowy energy. You're either being authentic in high vibe Leo, high vibe like King of Swords and Queen of Swords and Cancer, you really are motivated and inspired to work together with people cooperatively from love, or you're trying to create the illusion that's who you are but it's not the truth. And so some people could try to present themselves as being motivated and inspired by love to get people to invest in them and kind of go on a journey with them and have a new beginning with them, take that job, become their friend, date them, marry them. But it's more, again, of how it is good for their ego and their image. It looks victorious and successful by worldly standards, but it's not really inspired by love. And that's when other people can't stay in it. So then we have the Three of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Three of Wands. The Three of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil, which the devil can represent all these kind of things that manipulate us and tempt us in our more worldly, egoic, codependent nature. And the high vibe people decided to offer love to themselves, to be inspired within themselves, to free themselves from a relationship. You know, the devil card in a normal Rider-Waite deck looks just like the Lover's card, except in the devil card, there's the devil there instead of the angel, kind of like more about the world or fear or codependency or ego than love. And the people have chains and shackles on them. So the devil can talk about how all these things can manipulate us and kind of limit us, restrict us, imprison us. And high vibe energy, represented by God at the big picture of love, wants us to love ourselves enough to free ourselves from all these things that can manipulate us. So in our Capricorn energy, we have to put in this work and effort to love ourselves, and Capricorn and Cancer are on opposite sides of the zodiac wheel, so that can talk about getting balanced within yourself, not so much in favor of Capricorn and Taurus, earth sign energy, but equally inspired by truth and love. It needs to be a balance. And then the Three of Pentacles also talks about working cooperatively with people from a common truth, you know. In the Three of Pentacles, it's like, well, I have my dreams and aspirations, you have your dreams and aspirations. What is that common truth? And you kind of realize with some people is like, well, because of these reasons of the world or me, I'm defensive, or you should indulge me, or you should make it more about me. It's like, well, truth and love is supposed to be that, you know, it's supposed to be truth and love, and it's not supposed to be more about you, and it's not supposed to be just more about these things of the world. It's working together from love to manifest these things in the world that we want to manifest. And you realize that that isn't some people's truth, and you might realize there could be a lot of things that manipulate them. So then in the Two of Swords, which is Libra energy, you listen to your intuition. And in the Three of Wands, which is Aries energy, you have a dream. And Libra and Aries are on opposite sides of the zodiac wheel. So wanting to get the justice you deserve, which can be some of these things of the world that we want, but also in your fire sign energy, both Aries and Leo are fire sign energy. I am more inspired more by truth and love and balance than to be willing to stay in something that I could feel is kind of maybe even lacking inspiration or lacking in truth. Never gives birth to anything new. It's just more about the ego or the fear or the defensiveness, and it feels a little dry and barren. So then we have that Eight of Pentacles. Putting in the work and effort to, maybe in the Page of Cups, love yourself and invest. The Page of Cups can represent all three of the water signs, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. Cancer about love of self, love of others. Pisces, that you have a dream. Kind of a Aries and Aquarius can be about having dreams. but connected in with your emotions and your intuition to guide you, which next is the High Priestess, which is Cancer and Pisces. And also over here in the page, I mentioned Scorpio. Scorpio is about deep, meaningful relationships, which is also a high vibe like Leo, where people are being authentic, people are loving and warm and encouraging, because in all three of their water signs of self, they're more motivated and inspired to work together cooperatively with their worldly nature and listen to their intuition and be inspired to put in work and effort. They want these things. You put in work and effort to have stability and security in your life, but I also want to be in relationships and friendships and jobs with people who I think also kind of have that hopeful, believing spirit, who are inspired to work together with people cooperatively in a just and fair way, inspired to work together to, you know, enjoy your day. Enjoy, if you got to be at a job and you got to spend 8 hours a day, it'd be nice to be in relationships with people who know how to temper their ego or whatever to work cooperatively together so you can enjoy your day. And then it's kind of when we're in a more balanced state, because you could look kind of like the Chariot. You could envision it like a car. If you think some things aren't important, um, and that's what the bottom row can be. We don't really have any cups down here. It's like people trying, and that's part of life. In tarot, we have the heart, the mind, the 3D world, and our creative passion nature. We kind of go on these journeys in life, and we could make one of the four elements most important in our life at any given moment. And that's kind of going on this journey to learn these lessons in life. Other people have maybe learned some more lessons than some other people, or they've always kind of worked on all four areas to be more balanced within themselves, have all four tires on their vehicle filled up, because when we move forward in a balanced way and realizing that all four aspects of myself are important, um, that's what, to think I can disregard an aspect of myself, like, oh, that's not important to invest in that or put any work and effort in that. I think I can work around that. And that's what some people do. Some people don't want to connect in with their emotions, don't want to do love. You get hurt doing love, not inspired to be more authentic, would like to hide maybe behind their ego and their defensiveness, maybe like to be more immature, looking for other people who maybe, just kind of caught up or at the same stage of life they're at, right? And so we're all at different stages of life. You just might, it's kind of the emperor who gets in the driver's seat of the chariot, but just have gotten more balanced within yourself. You could have worked through something, at one time. You could have been more caught up, if it's career, school, work, codependent on your friend group or your family group or something, not as independent. As you kind of went through a phase of life, and you could have just realized that it kind of kept you stuck. There might have been things you would have liked to move forward with, but you kept kind of going back and repeating a pattern. And, some people, they'll do that, but eventually it's like, I want to work through this because I could feel like things aren't the way I'd like them. It's a little barren. And so that's when they kind of get inspired within themselves to deal with the truth. Why don't I love and believe in myself more to get out of my defensiveness, listen to my intuition, kind of see the truth that I could have dealt with certain people that were certain ways in my life, but that doesn't mean everybody's that way. And see what habits I'm repeating or what patterns I'm repeating, why I could have been drawn and attracted to certain things, or am I indulging in things of the world to make myself feel better, but it's not moving my life forward. Well, am I willing to quit investing in some of those things I indulge in that stop my life from moving forward? You know, if I don't, I'm going to keep repeating a pattern and it could keep me staying stuck. I have a dream, but if I want that dream to come into reality, I have to be willing to put in the work and effort that I maybe haven't been willing to put the work and effort into, kind of out of love for myself. And then the high priestess can kind of represent our higher self. Where do I want to see myself in the future? If I keep doing this, if I want to end up in that direction at some future point in time, I can't keep doing this or keep walking that way or go that way 2 steps, but then go 3 steps that way, then 1 step that way, then 2 steps that way, eventually, and it could kind of be dealing with this denial that we have. Again, we would all like things to work out the way we want, but are we inspired kind of within ourselves to put in that work and effort to love ourselves enough to maintain better balance within ourselves, to keep putting in the work and effort that I'm going to do 2 steps this direction, maybe 1 step back. 2 steps this direction, 1 step back. But I'm not going to go back to this. It's kind of like drawing a line, And again, that can be high vibe energy, everything within moderation. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Go enjoy your life. But if we've kind of been doing things maybe in excess, why are we doing it in excess? And if that excess is stopping us from moving forward the way we want, go enjoy your life, but do it in moderation so that it doesn't hinder moving forward in your life. What's coming up for some people who are harnessing some high vibe Leo energy? Sometimes we just have to take a break. We might want to move forward and work with something or someone, but we also have to wait till kind of we're ready. And we might have to do more of this work within ourselves while we, from the 1 pentacle to the 8 of pentacles, can be letting go of the 7 of pentacles, which could be something else that we had invested in. And again, that could be ways of thinking, habits, patterns, vices, or job or relationship. And it can take some time to do this work within ourselves. We might not like some situations in our life, but again, we can have a hard time letting it go and moving away from it. But as we keep kind of standing up for our truth, well, we're standing up for our truth, that this is what I think is just and fair. Other people kind of keep doing what they're doing. Over time, it kind of helps us accept the truth. If they were motivated and inspired to work together in a more just and fair and loving way, and the longer we can't stay in denial that might just not be their truth. And we get out of our ego about it. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to go work with the people who are more motivated and inspired to work together in a more just and fair and loving way. Because that's the only way my dreams can come into reality, is to work with other people who are inspired by that and have been enlightened to the truth and learned some of these same lessons. So what's coming up for some people harnessing some high vibe Leo that they might not see coming up as they're moving forward in their life? And sometimes if things didn't work out the way we had wanted, again, it kind of takes that time to do this work before we're ready to move forward in something else again. A time of healing. Okay, we got 3 cards not showing themselves, and the reason they came out is because of the Knight of Pentacles. So, the Knight of Pentacles, like the 8 of Pentacles, is Virgo energy, which talks about doing this kind of this work within ourselves to maybe feel more balanced within ourselves, to work through our defensiveness about letting go of an old way of living life or people or jobs, and to get inspired within ourselves, to love ourselves. And again, that's what I view High Vibe Leo is giving yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you. So we get out of kind of being a more codependent energy and looking to other people to play that role in our life. We learn because we're not children anymore. So it is like learning to become our own best mother, father, coach voice in our own head. And to get balance within ourselves so that we don't repeat old patterns, and to love ourselves and listen to our intuition and to keep moving forward. And as people do that, because they were inspired to get to the truth, that's what like High Vibe Virgo's about. They did that inner work. And when you do that inner work, you come out with the truth. And then you add that to your understanding of yourself and the world around you and how you make decisions moving forward, because you worked through something that at one time kind of had a hold on you in some way that kind of made you keep repeating it. And again, it could be that people didn't really know how to love themselves. The masculine cards can represent that we're kind of operating a little bit more from our ego, whether you're male or female. It's kind of our more worldly nature that's kind of driving our life. And if we haven't learned how to love ourselves, and underneath that is the 6 of Cups, which can talk about reconciling ourselves with issues of the past and getting more emotionally balanced within ourselves, we could look to other people to be in friendship relationship with to make us feel more emotionally balanced, because we hadn't learned to kind of do that within ourselves. But some high vibe people, they work through something. They are free to move forward to the next level of the video game of life. And some people could see people moving forward. Other people in the world who might be a little more shadowy, where their whole life is about kind of creating an illusion. Look how great my life is. Look, I've healed, I've grown, I've matured. Look, I'm different, but they're not. But they could think some of the high vibe people in their life are putting on a really good show. And you seem to be doing it very victoriously and successfully. In a very just, fair, balanced, abundant, stable, grounded way. And they could wonder, how are you doing that? But you're not like them. You're not operating more from your ego. This isn't a strategy and a plan. You really did the work. And what they don't realize is you're like not the same person that you were before. You shed an old version of yourself. You previously used to harness these energies in a more worldly, shadowy way that kind of kept you in this kind of a cycle. But what they don't know is you work through those things. And when you quit aligning with those ways of being, you quit aligning with certain people in your life. And you are willing to detach from those people if that was their truth, because it wasn't your truth anymore. And what they don't realize is that you harness them in a more high vibe way now. What is it? The 3 of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, and the 2 of Swords. That previously, again, in our Leo's fire sign energy, in our fire sign nature, for the first 30 or 50 years, no matter if you're a person motivated and inspired by love or not, we really have a lot of things in the world that we want to go indulge in and we want to invest in and we want to manifest. So those are things that we viewed as victorious and successful in our Capricorn energy. And so, that could have really kind of tipped us more in favor of kind of being more influenced by the world, maybe instead of listening to our intuition. And the Two of Swords is Libra energy. We're at where we're at any stage of life. We live our life the way we live it because that's our truth at that moment in time. And, was it just and fair for us in a way to live our life that way at that time? That way? Yeah, because that's how we viewed ourselves, our emotional maturity level, etc. But what they don't realize is you freed yourself. You worked through some things that you kind of were in two minds about. And it might have been in your Virgo energy about, and your Capricorn and your Libra. There's these, Virgo can talk about these things that we want to invest in. And again, there's a lot of things of the world that we want to invest in and we want to manifest. But now you've learned to, I do want some of those things of the world, but now, pride comes before the fall. Leo can be about our pride and ego. You learn to listen to your intuition more. And it could have forced you to listen, to kind of get more connected in with yourself, love and believe in yourself, and listen more to your intuition, because your intuition, Virgo, kind of talks about these lessons that we've learned, but also these gifts we've been given. And one of those is our intuition. We're part of the animal kingdom, and all the animals have their unique thing. We have our own unique talent, skills, and interests that make us different from other people. Some people want to be doctors. Some people want, whatever your skill level, unique talent, skills, and interests are. And those are things that you have been given that you could use to have stability and security in your life if you're willing to invest in those things and appreciate them. And also to listen to your intuition. Kind of sometimes makes me think of like, a bat has sonar. It's kind of like human beings have been given their intuition, but sometimes we can discredit it. And sometimes when there were some things that we maybe wanted to go invest in, our more creative, inspired, intuitive, hopeful, believing, loving nature was like, you shouldn't invest in that. We're like, oh no, man, I'm going to go invest in that. I'm going to go indulge in that. I'm sure that'll make me happy. And we kind of didn't listen to our intuition. And part of that could have been, again, because we were out of balance, tipped more in favor of being manipulated by our worldly nature, and had to learn these lessons about loving ourselves and listening to our more emotionally intuitive, creative nature. The emotional nature is kind of like the hidden realm. And that our intuition is part of that realm. And before we could have ignored it, pride comes before the fall. Oh no, I think I know how to do this. No, I think this will work. And we could have stayed in denial that we were moving forward, getting in more mismatched relationships. Like, oh no, God, I'm going to change them. I got a handle on this. It's like, okay, you go. Because God and everybody else has been working with those people, but those people have free will. And if they want to be more immature or more defensive or more caught up in the world or stay in denial of where they might need to mature, but hey, you go. you do it for as long as you want to do it, until you kind of see the truth that you can't change anyone. They have to be inspired within themselves to change. And if they wanted to be a different type of person at any given moment in their life, they would be. And they're not. But you didn't want to see the truth of it with some of those people. Because in the fire sign energy, we could have been attracted to people. We could have viewed them, a lot of different reasons in the world. Taurus energy could be stability. It could be status, image. It could be attractiveness. It could be ethnicity. It could be just all these different things that we can have in common with people in a way that kind of like, oh my gosh, we kind of have a lot of similarities. You might have a lot of similarities, but at a core foundational level, are you more inspired by truth and love? and justice and fairness, or is one person more defensive, one person more egoic, one person more self-protective and defensive? It's kind of hard to move things forward if your foundational truth is different of how you view life. And I think as the high vibe people move forward in their life, if you're not already in it, you could have gotten a new job, could have gotten different friendships, could have gotten in a new relationship. You're listening more to your intuition, maintaining balance within yourself, and listening to your intuition, working together with people, getting to know people. The Page of Cups can be with some people, it's just small gestures to kind of get to know people. And work with people and listen to your intuition about who they are, and that when you see the truth of some people, it's like, okay, thank you. Can I still know you in my neighborhood or my workplace and get along with you and treat you like I treat other people? Yes. Do I want to get in a more involved relationship with you? No. Or if you just kind of more invest in the people who you think are more balanced, more mature, have learned some of the same lessons in life that you've learned. And you cut people out of your life who kind of more want to offer people things of the world instead of, in high vibe Virgo, truth and love. And as you move forward, you're listening to your intuition about those different people in the world. Who operates more from their worldly nature and probably tries to tempt people more in a worldly sense. And who are the people who seem to be more balanced, being more authentic, work together with people more cooperatively, aren't trying to tempt people or hide the truth of who they are. And you're having a new beginning that looks like it's going to be very victorious and successful. What is coming up for some people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Leo energy that they don't see coming? The Six of Wands. Why? Because of the Strength card. Well, again, some people want to keep repeating this old pattern. And it could be because in their Leo energy, they're fearful of stepping outside their comfort zone. And again, they might like to live more from their mind than their heart. And, to step outside your comfort zone, that's kind of moving forward in unknown territory. And you do have to listen kind of to love and intuition to guide you. And some people could have a lot of fear of stepping outside their comfort zone, and it's just not their comfort zone. So they'll probably keep repeating some old patterns. Some might decide, nope, that's it. I don't want a new beginning. Nope, I'm not going to do love. I'm going to make my life maybe more about me and my career. I'm sure that'll make me happy. And could they end up looking very victorious and successful in the world? Sure. Whatever we put kind of our work and effort into. It just might be that, eventually they might find it not very emotionally fulfilling. Maybe they'll kind of be an immature player who, just male or female, that wants to just indulge in relationships but really doesn't want to really kind of bring the dream into reality in a way, unless they were to find someone who is maybe more codependent or more driven and motivated by those same things that they want to indulge in and make their life about, or other things that they want to make their life about, then they could be willing to move forward with those people. But if they're two Leo cards, if they're just much more motivated by the world, themselves, their defensive nature, if they can find other people want to live their life that way, it's just that some of the people in their life, it's like, I can't live my life like that. It doesn't matter how victorious and successful it might look like by worldly standards. I found it emotionally not aligned with my truth, or maybe even feeling like, shadowy energy and shadowy Taurus can be where people make their life so much about conforming to the world versus living their more authentic life and being free to live their more authentic life. Can you still participate in the world and attend functions and all these things? Yeah, but it's because you enjoy them and you really want to. Where some people, it's to invest in all these things that they probably really rather not invest in. But it's like, oh shit, I better go do that because, I need people to view me a certain way and I need to want to have a certain image or status in the world. And it's kind of being a slave to the world. And it's like they reject their own more hopeful, believing inner child nature. And it's like, nope, the most important thing is to have people view you a certain way. Well, other people could be viewed a certain way, but they're really living their more authentic life. They're not doing all these things for these other reasons. But for some people, that is their whole life. It's all this strategy because they think this is the most important thing. And then instead of like actually enjoying it and getting involved in it, but then again, that would require more emotionally investing in it. And they might not want to do that. I don't know. Seems a little more sterile. So, but I think more high vibrational people in their life eventually move on and they end up more surrounded with other people who are probably willing to be in relationship with them more for the status or the image. They would be people who maybe don't really care about love either, more driven and motivated, you know, by these things of the world, willing to maybe indulge them to have those things of the world. And for some people, in a way, that's what they want. I don't want to have to grow up. I don't want people to require more of me. I don't want to have to see the truth, speak the truth, get more balance within myself. I like it being more about me or more about these things or more about the world. That's my truth. Is like, no, everybody can live their life whatever way they want. It's just that some other people in their life, the more high vibrational people in their life are going to move on because it just doesn't have that kind of pull on them like it does, or it isn't as important to them, or those things don't have such a stranglehold on them. So there you go, Leo. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.